Alright guys, sorry for the noise. I think my neighbor's over there weed eating. This is the only chance I got to do this video, so I'm gonna go through it right quick. We've already established you're probably a saddle hunter if you clicked on this video by the thumbnail. And I've been saddle hunting now only for a couple years. I really enjoy it. I love the mobility of it, getting you in new places, getting you up a tree fast and quiet. It's very beneficial. There's a lot of new places I've discovered just because I have the ability to go in and hunt it and get up a tree and see what's there. A lot of places I'm able to mark off, really no good. But what I do find myself is, what I tend to do, a lot of times I've got, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 places that are really good certain times of the year. I find myself going back to the same tree. A lot of these places I have are on private land. Now, I'm not saying you can't find these places on public. They do exist. I know of a few places that, as time and money allows, I'm going to add more of these too, more than likely. This is fairly inexpensive. I'm going to show you what all I got in it. But what I was saying is I've got spots on private land that are real close to work. And maybe you get off work and you got an hour of daylight. The conditions is just right for that tree you know of, that good chance you're going to see something, or just a rut funnel. Certain days you want to be in a tree all you can, very limited on time. I've been thinking about, man, I need to fix up something just to have in that tree. That way I can just get off work, have my bow and my saddle with me, hustle up there, hustle out to that spot and get up the tree and get the last 30 minutes of light in, because that might be the day it happens. So I've been thinking about this for a while, cheap ways to do it. I mean, I'm a man, I don't like to spend a lot of money on things that I don't have to. A good saddle, like my Cruiser, well worth the money. It was way better than my set drag. And I've sat in several other models right now, and I have to say the Cruiser XC is still my favorite for comfort. But I wanted a cheap alternative to keep from having to carry sticks and a platform in a tree, just for the speed, needing a speed hunt. Just wanting to get to a spot quick, get up a tree, give myself a chance. And I didn't want to spend 15 minutes setting up. I need that 15 minutes to be hunting, to not take a chance on spooking deer. So if you're a stand hunter, more than likely you got a set of these sticks. Now, all of mine were super old. They've been on tree for years. I didn't really want to make nothing out of them. They really need to be just taken down and thrown away. So these was at Walmart. These is a Maristep, 4 30-inch sticks or 3-foot sticks, 50 bucks. Well, I ain't giving 50 bucks. A set of these is not worth 50 bucks, in my opinion. There's nothing to them, just 1-inch square tube. But as season come along, as gun season come in at my local Walmart, they had a whole pallet of these things. Whole pallet. I just kept my eye on them. I thought, I'm not paying 50 bucks for 4 sticks. Not those. I mean, this is not a real mobile option. Now, if you're on very limited income and you just want to try this out, I suppose you could do this just to try it out. But believe me, you're going to want a good set of sticks and a good platform, or something along those lines, to actually do saddle hunting. Now, this might be an alternative to try it. Anyway, I kept an eye on these sticks. I watched them all through our gun season, 17 days long. In the gun season, which is basically in Kentucky what most people buy their deer hunting stuff right before and during. Anyway, there's about a half pallet left, still 50 bucks. I hung on every week or so. As I'd have to go in there and get some, I'd swing by Sporting Goods, see if they'd marked hunting stuff down. Come December, come Christmas, 30-40% off. To me, still not worth it. Waited another week or two, 50% off. They only had 4 left. I thought, well, if I'm gonna get them, I better get some. So I bought 2. Bought 2 4-piece sets. Basically 50 bucks for 8 sticks. I got them buy one, get one free, basically. And so that left 2. A week or so later, I had to run in there and get something. They had 1 set of sticks left. All the other hunting stuff was marked down 75% by then. It was just a few random items. The last set of sticks didn't have no marking on them. I took them to a scanner. $12.50 for 4. Now that's my kind of deal. So I ended up buying 3 sets of new sticks, and I give $62.50 for 3 sets of sticks. not a whole lot of cost in that. I can afford to leave them in a tree. I can afford to have somebody steal them. I'm not going to fret about it. But these 3 are going in private land spots. If I had a public spot close by that I want to hit quick, I wouldn't be scared to leave them there. I mean, 13 bucks plus what I paid for the rest of it ain't gonna break me. So let's start with what I started with. The platform. This is, I think they call this, it's a 12-inch anti-slip open grip stairway decking. This one happens to be aluminum. It's kind of flimsy. They make this in steel. I'm not sure, I could not find this looking it up on the internet. This piece was given to me. I do work for a local manufacturer. They had this, a set of steps sitting out back. They was throwing away. They happened to use aluminum on them. I just asked them, hey, what y'all take for that? And they was like, get it off our lot, you can have it. So I took it. Took them apart. Got me a nice piece of this. Didn't know what I was gonna do with it at the time. I just seen it and I thought, I got a use for that stuff somewhere along the lines. Anyway, I did look this up. You can get this probably, if you use that definition, 12-inch anti-slip open grip stair decking, and Google that. You can find this in steel, 13-gauge steel. Now it will weigh a little more, but it'll be a whole lot stiffer and would probably make a better option for this. This is what I had. Didn't cost me nothing. 3-foot piece of steel and 13-gauge. I was finding it for around 50 bucks if you order it. Now, I'm sure you can go to Granger, Fastenal, MSC. If you have any of these stores around you, go in there and tell them what you want. I'm sure they'd order you a piece of it. They're probably going to want to sell you a minimum amount of feet. But you can order 3 foot of this in steel for like 50 bucks plus $10 shipping. So 60 bucks. Out of that 60 bucks, these are 7.5 to 8 inches. I cut them at 8, somewhere around there, 7.5, 8. I wasn't real particular. You could get, I don't know, 5 or 6 of these out of that. So 10 bucks. This cost you 10 bucks. And all I did, because I want to make something, on my last DIY videos, people's like, oh, I ain't got a milling machine, or I ain't got a drill press, or, you know, you make it look easy because you got all the stuff. Well, I want to make something that anybody with just a standard, and I mean basics, could do this. So get you some stair decking. From my DIY stick platform that I made, I had about 6 inches of drop off this free piece of, it's 5x5, half-inch thick aluminum, right angle iron. Pretty expensive probably, if you have to buy a certain amount of it. It's aluminum. If you're going with aluminum, I do at least a half-inch thick. If you're doing steel, which would be way cheaper, anybody's gonna have it. You could use a 4x4, 5x5. I wouldn't go no smaller than 3, and I would keep my thickness probably at a minimum of 1/4. But just cutting them into 1-inch pieces. Just 1 inch wide, width of your stick. Take them somewhere to a fab shop, have them put it in a bandsaw, and just, you know, go to your local fab shop. They probably got some of this stuff in a steel. They might not have it in aluminum, but I mean, we're hauling this in one time. Who cares what it weighs? The steel is probably a better option long term than what, but I just happen to have this laying in my shop. So I cut me some 1-inch strips. Things you're gonna need to do it. You probably, if you've watched my other videos, you've seen this. This is just a basic tap. Has a real sharp point on it. This is just simply gonna be my punch to mark my holes. The other items I would recommend, if you have a grinder, you will want you one of these 4.5-inch cutoff wheels. Now, so you don't have a grinder, you can buy a cheap grinder for this. I mean, if you're gonna be a DIY person, you're gonna want one. If you're gonna do a lot of these kind of items. This is a DeWalt, pretty expensive. You can go to Harbor Freight, you can get one for 20 bucks. That'll handle light work just fine. I mean, $20, if you don't want to spend $20, go to your local hardware. You can get these from $3 to $5. Hacksaw. It's gonna take a whole lot more elbow grease to get it done. It's gonna take you a while to saw one of these up compared to the cutoff wheel. Cutoff wheel, I literally cut this out in less than a minute. Anyway, all I did with this, measure me off 7.5, 8 inches, however long you want it. Now I'm just gonna have basically 5 inches of this sticking out in front of the stick, 5 to 6 inches, because that's all I feel comfortable climbing over to get into the tree. And this, I wear a size 9.5, 10 shoe, plenty big for what I'm doing. As you can see, all I did was, man, I took a Sharpie, ground it off. Now this is still sharp, I hadn't ever deburred it. Probably not going to. I'm not worried about sharp edges from something I'm gonna haul in once. Sharp edges grab your boot really good. So I'm not too concerned about it. I went in there, and the stick is 1 inch wide, where these holes are about 1.25 inches. So I just drew me a line across there and allowed me some clearance for my stick to go right here, the square tubing. And then I've come out here and measured 4 inches, 2 inches off this center mark each way. Drew me a line, took that grinder, then come in here in this part and just made a plunge cut. Drop that segment out. Now then, as you can see here, you slide this railing up over that top step, get it in there. What I like to do is, once it's in there, you have these rows of big holes. That's row 1, row 2, and row 3. This third row, this outside hole, is where I use to mark my holes in my top step. Simply stuck it on there. The first thing I did is took that C-clamp, and I took this piece of angle and I clamped it right there. Okay? Now I slid that railing over it, got it lined up, put another C-clamp right here. Took the center of those holes, put my tap right in the center of those holes, took a hammer, pinged it, pinged it, pinged it, pinged it. Now I've got little bitty indentions that'll keep your drill bit from walking around in a circle. You're going to want to ping it. Get you something sharp. I mean, you don't have a tap, you could probably take a good drywall screw, something with a good sharp point, put it in the center of that hole, take a hammer, and don't hit your fingers, put your ding on it, you got a mark. You got a mark with an indention that drill bit will grab. I use 5/16 bolts. I do not drill it 5/16 the first time. You'll find it a world easier when you're drilling steel, or any metal for that matter. When you're drilling any kind of metal with a handsaw, you want to start off with a small bit. You want to put you a pilot hole first. Pilot hole makes all the difference. Take you an 1/8 inch drill bit, drill you a hole through it. Trying to keep that drill bit, this small drill bit, to grab that little bitty center mark you give it a whole lot easier than a big bit. You hit this spot, I mean, we're going to drill a hole through the top of the stick. These are going to be the only holes in this stick. So you go here, keep it straight, keep it straight. Don't go in there like that, all sideways. Keep it straight this way, keep it straight this way. Drill your hole all the way through it. Now then, step it up. You already got your pilot hole, it's going to follow that pilot hole. Take your 1/4 inch bit, run it through there, both sides real quick. It won't take but a second. It'll go right through it real quick. Then finally, take you a 64th bigger than 5/16. What would that be? 5 times 4 be 21 64th drill bit. It's going to be like, that's going to be 16 thousandths bigger than a bit. 5/16 might work because they usually drill a little big. It would probably work 5/16 bit. You're going to want to go and drill those holes through your top sticks. You got that done. The stick itself is then basically ready. Now you got your pings on this piece of angle iron. You're going to do the same thing. Those little low marks that's put on it, I'm not so worried about centering nothing up. This is just basic. 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch, and then something a little just slightly smaller. Just use 5/16 if that's all you got, because most standard sets ain't gonna have the 64. 5/16 will work. Drill you 2 holes in it. Then you're gonna get to the point you're ready to put this stick together. All you're simply gonna do is take those 2 big holes that you marked on your angle, and you're gonna bolt this piece of angle. You're gonna bolt it to the bottom platform. Have it in place. Don't have to tighten it up yet. Just get it up there firm, finger tight to work. Then you're gonna come in here and put your other 5/16 bolts. Now I will say this, because these holes are so big, I went on for safety reason. I put 2 flat washers on top. Just something that grabs that hole a little bigger, makes it thicker. Than one washer's a 16. I put 2 of them on there to make it an 1/8 inch stick. And these little indentions, they sink down in there pretty good and seal down tight. But that's basically all it is, man. You're gonna drill 4 holes, you're gonna bolt it down. I always put you a lock washer on the bottom or a lock nut. Flat washer, lock washer, nut. I did it on all 4 of them, tighten them down. As you can see, in this $13 set of sticks, I got 4 of these. I got enough stuff out of one 3-foot wide piece. I can make 8 of these platforms, but I just got 4 sticks or 3 sets. So I'm just gonna make 3 right now. I'm gonna save the rest of my material for later. But you say, well, how's that hole? Well, these 2 right here did not weaken your stick by drilling a hole on the end of the thing. I mean, you didn't lose any of the structural stuff. Now, I wouldn't leave these up for years because they're steel. They're gonna rust. You want a quick hitter, a few years, put it up before season, take it down after season, you're gonna get 2 or 3 years out of it. Then I'd throw it away. You still be able to save this, but the stick, being you drill through that hole in that coating, it's gonna have a spot for it to start to rust. You know, just keep an eye on it. Check on it. If it don't look good, you might throw it away, but you're gonna get several seasons. It's cheap. But where your strength comes in, because I don't think this stick and 2 bolts is near enough for me personally. But when you bolt this angle to it, your angle's pushing against this. I mean, this is little old aluminum stuff. It is thin. I can take and wad this up by hand just about if I really get on it. But with that, I've stood on a tree with it a while ago. It is solid as a rock. I don't see this going. I'd also like to add, anytime you're using a top of the stick platform, I would highly recommend a 1-inch ratchet strap or some kind of strap at the base of them, because I mean, these cheap sticks, they don't grip trees the greatest, and when you're standing up here, you're putting a lot of torque that can cause the bottom of the stick to kick out on you. So please, just a regular old cheap 1-inch ratchet strap would work, something that'll hook around this portion of it, hook it at the bottom. I like to hook mine below the bottom step but above this standoff, hook to it on both sides, run around the tree. You know, you can use a cinch strap, anything that holds it tight to keep it from moving. But after that, you get this up the tree, I mean, you got a whole season of get off work and go hit that spot. I don't see this going anywhere. So if you want, you know, if you got those spots you hit, even though you've got into saddle hunting and you're being super mobile, you're gonna find spots along the way. Man, I got a big old gobbler walking in my yard right now. I have to go get a shotgun. Anyway, you're gonna find the spots along the way that you're just gonna find yourself going to all the time. And many times you're going there because of a certain wind, and a certain wind, you've got a certain tree. Why not? I mean, $13 for the sticks, maybe $13 in hardware, some basic tools. Literally, I did this one at work with hand tools. Only thing I did different is I had a bench vise to clamp it up. But I made this on my lunch break, 30 minutes. I was done, I had one. So I mean, you can make, you got a day off work, you can make them all up in no time. You can get them to the tree. So anyway, I hope this is a good alternative for those preset locations that you know you're gonna hit all the time. You don't want to carry all your gear, you're in a hurry. Kind of like I am thinking about this turkey standing out here at 80 yards with a long beard dragging the ground, and it's turkey season and I ain't been yet. Anyway, very minimal, will not cost you a lot of money, and it's very simple to do. I mean, literally you can do this in 30 minutes or less. So I hope this helps you, hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, go and hit the subscribe button. I got several more ideas I'm working on. Thanks for watching.